Hey people, what's up? Good morning. At least for me, it's a good morning. Welcome back to my 21 days of blockchain fundamentals challenge. Um, it's been a very difficult period since I'm a little bit ill, but I'm still getting better. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. Day six. I have a lot to catch up because I've lost some days in between, so I gotta do as fast as I can. But of course, we don't have to lose quality. So let's dive into it. Homework on Bitcoin transactions and UTXOs. This one has 4 questions. So UTXOs are unspent transactions outputs. Just to clarify. So question number 1: describe what unspent transaction outputs or UTXOs are. So I think the word says it itself. So unspent transactions output or UTXOs are transactions that has been received from another user, but they haven't been spent yet. From there, the word unspent transaction. So these are funds or transactions that has come in to your wallet, but they are on an unspent state. They still need to be spent. To like you need to, you don't need to, but you could still spend it. So we just call it unspent transactions or UTXOs. Question number 2: what would happen if you don't have any single UTXO that is large enough to cover your transaction? So what you need to do, or you don't need to do it, but your wallet does it normally automatically. So what happens is you use multiple UTXOs to add, so that this should be equal to be the sum that is needed to cover the transaction. So let's say, for example, you want to spend 0.5 BTC or 0.5 Bitcoins, and you don't have enough, like all your UTXOs. There is no single UTXO that is equal to 0.5 or higher. So you have like 0.1, 0.3, 0.2, 0.05. So what's going to happen is all these low transactions or UTXOs will be taken together, so that from there you can have the 0.5 that needs to be spent. So question number 3: how will a Bitcoin wallet specify the transaction fee when creating the transaction? So let me just say, the Bitcoin wallet will specify the transaction fee by opting that the cost be subtracted from the transaction itself. From the transaction, yeah, because let's say you have this 0.5 BTC that needs to be spent, right? And when inputting the data, you just say yes, 0.5, but of course the cost has to come out of the cost has to also be included. So if you just say 0.5, what the BTC wallet is going to do, it's maybe gonna take, let's say, is gonna minus the fee out of the 0.5 that has been inputted. And if you want it to be 0.5, if you want what you're sending out to be 0.5, then you need to add the transaction fee number to your 0.5 transaction, so that this way, let's say for example the cost is 0.02. Of course that's not real nowadays. It's not realistic because 0.02 BTC is a lot of money, but let's just say for example's sake that it's 0.02, right? And you need to send 0.5. So maybe what you're gonna do is you're gonna give in 0.52. This way 0.02 is going to be subtracted, and then 0.5 is going to go through. It's question number 4: how could you use the notion of transaction inputs and outputs to increase privacy in your transaction? Well, the idea here, or what you can do, is you can take out like if you use a large amount of outputs that goes to addresses that you control. So this way it's going to be very difficult to first of all know what you bought and how much you bought it for. So let's say, for example, you're trying to purchase something and the value is 0.5 BTC, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna maybe overspend. Let's say you're gonna spend in a total let me say for example 3 BTC, but in this 3 BTC you're gonna chop it up. So something is gonna be 1 BTC, another is gonna be 0.5, another is going to be 0.7. so you're just gonna chop it up, so that this way and then you send all this to addresses, but most of them to addresses that you control, and in this way it's going to be very determined it's going to be very hard to determine what you bought and how much you bought it for. So those are the questions on Bitcoin transactions and UTXOs. So next set of questions, homework on mempool. 3 questions here. What is a mempool? The easiest way to explain this is a mempool is just a place where all the transactions are gathered into. Once validated, they just like, once the nodes validate the transactions, all these transactions are then placed within a mempool, and the transactions are just waiting there for the miners to pick it up and like to mine out the transactions and then register this in the block in the blockchain. So question number 2, what happens if the miners can't keep up with the rate of the new transaction? Well, that just means that the transaction time, the time to transact, is going to be longer. Why is that? That's just because, yeah, if you can't keep up, it means more transactions keep adding into the mempool, so you have to wait longer for your transaction to go through. So question number 3, how does a growing mempool affect transaction fees? Well, the bigger the mempool, the higher the transaction fees. So this is just due to the large competition to get one's transaction into the next block. Let's just say bigger mempools is equal to higher fees, longer transaction time. So the bigger the competition for the higher fee. Those were the questions on mempools, or mempool. Let me just state it like that. So homework on mining and proof of work. So this is the last section for day 6. 3 questions as well. Why is it important to make the miners spend money on electricity while mining? So why is that important on proof of work? Well, by forcing the miners to spend on electricity, they are incentivized to create valid blocks, and by doing this, they can claim the block rewards. So in this way, like if the miners are forced to spend electricity, it means that they have skin. Like it's an investment, right? So they are like incentivized to play nice and incentivized to do their job well, so that they will have their rewards. Like it's just like an investment. You cannot expect to win something if you don't put something in. So in the case of proof of work, electricity is the bargaining chip that is used. I hope that makes sense. Question number 2, why will it be very difficult for someone to go back and change a previous added block. Let me see. If this is done, the output hash function, the output hash function, and already generated future hash function, all of this is going to change. So this is also difficult because every block has a reference of a previous hash block. So it's it's very difficult to do this. Like if you have to go back in time and change a block, not only is it difficult to change that block, but you will also have to change all the future blocks that have come to pass. So it's practically impossible. Never say never, but Justin Bieber was right on that. But let's just say it's practically impossible. It's gonna cost you a lot of resources and a lot of cheng, you know, and a lot of electricity. So question number 3, how does the network regulate mining difficulties? By lowering the target hash. So miners need to find the hash that is lower than the target hash. So lowering the target hash makes it less likely that the miner makes a correct guess. And this is equal to amount of guesses increased required to produce a correct hash. So those were the questions for day 6 on homework on mempools, Bitcoin transactions, and proof of work. I hope everything was clear. If I made a mistake somewhere, please correct me below on the comments. If you have any additional thing to add, feel free to add within the comments. This is Victor, also known as Crypto Sniper, also known as Victorious. I'm checking out. See you soon on day 7. Peace out.